Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Basketball podcast. I am Mark.
That was a bloody good one.
That was a good one.
That was on fire.
You're on fire. Look at you. Look how excited he is. Oh,
He's
God.
back and he's on fire with all this energy. Screw you and screw everyone else. That was the best one I might have done.
I think that's to do with the complimentary but limited edition mugs that we have, or cups. Are they cups or mugs? I guess they're a cup, aren't they?
Limited edition.
A mug has a handle.
Limited edition, mate.
Yeah.
For all our guests who come in.
Love it. Oh, I like that. I didn't guess that. This is mine.
Mine is my precious.
All right. Nice.
I'm
So,
back.
We're back, and you've been
Not
missing.
up to date.
Not up to date, but you've been missing the SLB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been good. There's been some good games. There's been
London have turned it around.
Yeah, there's been some great games.
They were struggling to start the season, but they seem to...
Do you know what? It's funny when you look at where they are now and you say, we are...
I'm not recording on the for the actual podcast, Mark.
We'll record it.
Psych!
You dick.
Yeah, you're there. Hey, hang on.
What?
If you insult, snowflake warning
Yes.
3 minutes ago.
Snowflake?
Sorry.
Bad language. Yeah, so you think of where London are right now. We're on the 20th, 21st of November by the time you listen to this. But we've already had the trophy and going through to they didn't make the semi-finals or anything. They're out. They're out the trophy completely. They just couldn't get it together for the beginning of the season.
Who's in the semi-finals? What's the matchup?
Off the top of my head, it was, blimey, I'm going to have to go back to my show
Caledonia.
notes.
Sheffield, Bristol, and Newcastle. Have I got that right? I'm thinking about.
I think
Thinking
you have.
back like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think you have. But the funny thing with the trophy is that you look at it and go, you wouldn't expect it to be like the semi-finals. Bristol, Cheshire, Newcastle, Leicester. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What was that again?
Bristol, Cheshire.
Bristol are taking on Cheshire.
Yeah, and that's December the 6th. And Newcastle are taking on Leicester, and that's December the 6th. And then on December the 8th.
Oh, so Sheffield didn't make it?
No. And then Cheshire against Bristol on the December the 8th.
Oh,
And Leicester against Newcastle on December the 22nd. Like the date has been put in now. Like randomly.
All right.
But yeah, so...
Interesting fact for you.
Is it?
Yeah.
How interesting?
No, this is...
How interesting? Is this like, I'm going to fall off my seat interesting? Or is it like, I want to fall off my seat.
I don't think it's going to make... Well, this is big.
I want
This is
to
big.
fall off my seat.
Well, we're talking about the trophy finals now. So the actual final will be
Yes.
January 26th.
January 26th.
Gollum. Is that...
Yes.
I was going to do it back then. But anyway, January 26th, 2025.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, back in Birmingham.
Yeah. The Utilita Arena, is it?
Once again for the trophy finals.
No, it's the first time. It's the first time it's ever
That's
been.
what I'm saying. Will be history in the making.
Yeah.
Because it is the first bit of Super League basketball silverware that will be given out.
Oh, it will as well, won't it?
Think about it. It's like the
So it's the
in-season
first-
tournament for the NBA last year.
So the first time they've ever used the Utilita and first time they've ever used
Like
silverware.
SLB. First.
Oh, you want to have that?
Thing that gets
You want
given
to have
out.
your name on there? Oh, you want to have that name on it?
That's why I said it's quite...
So Cheshire and
important point.
Newcastle finished top of the North group, and in the Southern group, excuse me, obviously Leicester and Bristol. But yeah, so that's kicking off the 6th and the 8th of December. Not far away. But right now, in the week we're talking about, there is no SLB Super League basketball this weekend. They're actually taking like an international break because we've got the international game tonight. Tomorrow night.
Or when people listen to this
It will
yesterday.
be tonight. Yep.
When's this coming out?
I guess we can put it out on the Friday.
Okay,
So it'd have been less like last night.
Great Britain are taking on Greece.
Yeah.
And-
Greece are top of that table.
Huge game.
Yeah, I mean,
Huge game.
Britain are drawn at the moment with who is it? It's not Croatia, is it? but England are drawing like 2 games apiece. I think it is a 1-1. Greece are top of the table, like mile off. So at the moment, the UK, I think, GB are still in with a shot, but it is quite an important game. They really need to try and win this one.
It's one of the hardest.
And to win it is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's
You've
gonna
got
be
home
hard.
advantage. They're in a copper box. Good luck to them all.
But look, I genuinely think like the European standard is so hard to break into. Like you look at the teams you're going
I think
into.
Thanasis is playing.
And well, you go back to
And people joked about him, like, oh, look at him in the NBA. And you go, yeah, okay. Now look at him when he plays for like Greece. He's
and I think
good.
you could go back to 2008. Greece knocked out America.
Yeah.
Is that right? And they made him get bronze.
Yep.
Was that? Am I saying that right?
I'm sure it was Greece.
2008.
Spain.
Pretty
did
sure
well,
it was
didn't they?
Greece.
Yeah.
But just looking at some of the games, you know what? I got to do a snowflake warning.
Come on,
If
snowflakes.
you don't like language, or you are from Sky Sports, then turn off now.
Why from Sky Sports?
It pisses me off that this isn't on TV.
Oh yeah, no,
This
that's
is
disgusting.
freaking Great
Yeah,
Britain,
disgusting.
but playing basketball,
Yep.
the second highest team sport played for under 18s in this country,
Yep.
and our country is playing, and it's not even on Sky Sports.
Yep.
Sky Sports, you're a disgrace.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my God.
That was for them.
Yeah.
They're a disgrace.
It isn't. If you want to raise that level, you want as many people and many eyes as possible watching on it and going, "Oh, what? I could be part of that and play for my country." Like, yes, if you are a baller, go and do it. Like the amount. I know we spoke. So like when we've spoken to Keith and some of the guys from say
Hang
Finland.
on, what are you talking about now? We're talking about two different things, right?
No, we're talking about GB,
Yeah, this is the national team playing.
the national team. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the Masters Day, yeah?
No.
The GB Masters.
Yeah, follow me. Let me finish. When we talk with like Keith and the people in the Masters stuff, for example, one of the things that they talk about is how they're trying to raise awareness for like, oh yeah, just because you're over 35, basketball doesn't stop. You can still play elite level basketball. It's just a different it's just not in this type of national team. It's an overs Masters national team, but it's the same thing. Oh, but there's how many players don't even know about it. And the amount of people trying to get into the youth teams for like GB and stuff, people kind of stopped bothering or trying, or if they were like youths who didn't have that experience. So when you're playing against people against like caliber like Greece and stuff, if they could televise that, suddenly you'd look at it and think, hang on a minute, like this is high quality basketball and we're competing. You go,
And,
yeah.
You've got an NBA MVP from a few years back
Yeah.
who's playing in that game.
Yep.
And it's like, this isn't a scrimmage.
No.
This isn't a scrimmage. This is like for a place
But in
in
lots of countries, like
2025 FIBA Euro basketball.
let me put it another way. If you wanted to try and get into the American team, for example, that's probably quite difficult, right? If you want to try and get into the Greece team, if you are Greek, maybe a little bit easier than trying to get into the USA team. If you're trying to get into the Australian team, for example, that's probably quite difficult as well because they've got 4 or 5 players who play in the NBA straight off the bat, another 3 or 4 who play in EuroLeague. So you go to get into there, if you're a domestic Australian trying to get into the Australian team, it's probably quite difficult. GB team, you go suddenly, there's a better track for you. If you are a basketball player, you live in the GB, you're born and raised, you go, there's a better pathway for you than some of these others who have to fight over the likes of LeBrons and Stephs and Giannis and stuff.
A smaller population.
Much
as well.
smaller
Yeah.
population that you're fighting against. So if you are a player, go to tryouts, step up, put your name in the ring, like get yourself on the map. But in order to do that, they've got to raise awareness for, hey,
But
GB.
Sky Sports aren't going to put this on Sky Sport to
But
raise
there's GB
awareness.
a team. GB
But-
have a team that compete. And
But
that's
what I'm
the bit
saying
that
is, this is a sport that is more watched than some of the sports that they put on Sky Sports.
oh yeah, like what, equestrian and stuff like that. Yeah.
Darts.
Mm.
It's like, come on, all that crap.
Yep.
If they're putting volleyball, netball, they should be playing every single Great Britain basketball game live.
Yeah. I mean,
is it like the Arena Channel or something like that? Anyway, I don't want to harp on about it.
That's the money. It's all about the money. Always is.
But look, they're 1-for-1 in Group F at the moment. They beat Netherlands and Newcastle.
Yeah, that was
really
amazing.
close game, 98-94.
It was the second
and
game.
it was a tough loss for, I think the team you were thinking earlier was Chechnya.
No, Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, it's Czech Republic, isn't it? Czech Republic.
90-82.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
And that was when the games were like really close to each other in February.
It was like 2 or 3 days apart. Yeah. That was really unfortunate because they're the ones that we're kind of fighting for to get that second position, basically.
But Great Britain, the last time they played Greece, they won 78-69.
Yeah.
And that was in a 2023 Basketball World Cup qualifier. I got a nice quote from Mark Stutel. We had him on the show before.
Yep.
Great basketball mind. So when I was in Orlando and I was talking to some of the higher ups,
people behind
some of the
scenes.
higher ups,
yes,
and we were talking about people like Nick Nurse and where he started and stuff like that. I was basically saying to them, you need to keep an eye on Mark Stutel. And they were oh, okay. And I was like, look, he has been coaching here. He's now coaching Newcastle. He's coaching GB team. And it's only when do you know what I mean? You talk to certain people and you're like, they have got a certain brain that lives, breathes basketball, and they're on another level.
Yep.
And we've talked to a lot of coaches, and we know it. As soon as you're talking to one of those guys, like the Nick Nurses, you know it, and he is like in that category.
Yeah, they think so.
But I was saying to, I was bringing his name up to the some of the higher ups in the Orlando Magic, and they were like, Mark Studo, all right, I'm gonna check him out and stuff like that. So anyway, I got a quote from Mark. Greece is obviously a world-class side, regardless of which stars are playing. We know what to expect from Greece. Everyone in the world, in world basketball, knows what to expect from them. So we know how ready we have to be as a team, and from all the personnel. He says the mood in the camp's positive, and the honour of representing Great Britain is high. But
is that an advantage?
Copper Box is sold out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And he's pleased that we're playing in the capital. It's important that we're playing at different venues across the UK. I 100% agree with that. They did Newcastle, now they're at the Copper Box. I'd be going around all of those in a few years' time. The Bristol one as well, and it's just generally one of the things I think we should really try and wear awareness and build it up is the Great Britain National
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying about bringing them all up. If you're not showing it on telly, people don't even know it exists. People don't know it's there to go support it, let alone even try to aspire to it. Because that's what, we just did a show about the sad passing of Mike Spade. But when we see legends and we see people that were from our formative years, and you look at those players and you think, those people not only were, when you watch them, you can think they're an inspiration in that respect, but as a child, you then aspire and you can see the ladder. You look at all the youth teams that you coach and you go, you're under 10s, you're under 12s, you're under 14s, 16s, 18s. There's the senior team. There's the ladder. There's the progression.
But they have that same thing for National League. So you go, you'll be representing.
But most people don't.
Annie Scanlon, she talked about it.
Exactly, but people don't know about it.
For the under 14s that she was coaching.
Like, why do people not know about it? That's the bit that is like, there's a detached part. You go, there's all these things that set up. It's great. It's like going into the woods or going into a desert and holding a party. You're like, you said it about websites before. What's the point in having a shop in the middle of a desert? No one's going to find it. No one's there. If you don't know anything about it. And so that's where like the BBCs and those sort of places, you think, well, what are we paying TV licenses for if you're not going to show our national team? Which doesn't make sense.
When you get to national teams, that's where it should be televised.
Yeah.
But I genuinely believe this. I think
bring back Channel 4 basketball.
I think people at Sky Sports, BBC, whatever you want to say, I don't think they personally are in touch with the youth of the United Kingdom.
No.
They're not going around the local courts. They're just going, right, football, rugby, it's sun's come out, tennis, cricket.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a beer. We'll put the
Stick with what we
darts
know.
on.
Stick with what we know. Look, the media, that world is the old media world. It's dying.
You suck!
You do suck.
But anyway,
it is what it is.
Let's not harp on about it. But yeah, Great Britain playing. Best of luck to them. They got a bloody tough fixture coming up.
Yep.
But they're at the Copper
I
Box.
think they deserve a round of applause.
Let's see what.
Give them a cheer.
Let's see what the boys can bring.
Bring back those Lions.
That's what we need, Mark. We need a GB jersey behind you. We're
GB, hook us up.
We're getting a few jerseys now. Kind of the way the cameras are, we'll have to work it out to get the jerseys behind
Well, we're going
us.
to change the cameras anyway. We'll move it all around again.
But anyway, right, let's crack on.
Let's crack on with the league. There's 6 games this week. Right. Here's my first moan. There's a couple. It was my first one.
Oh, yeah.
2 games on Friday and then 4 games on Sunday. It makes it quite difficult if you're someone who wants to be a fan of the sport to watch everything, because you can't watch it all on the same day. As simple as that. It's like, what are you doing
You're
Sunday?
having a moan at that?
Yeah, I am.
So what about like other sports like football, where it's like every game must be played
Different.
Saturday 3:00?
Different.
You're like, no, I want to
different.
watch them all.
I don't know. Well, I don't know about sports, but a lot of people, I'm sorry, other sports, but a lot of people tend to follow a team. Okay, hear me on this one.
I'm listening.
With the Super League as it is at the moment, there's 9 teams. Yeah, and anyone who's invested in watching actually wants to follow all the teams, not just their one specific team. They actually want to see how the league's doing, how everyone's doing. So a lot of people are tuning into more than one game, like genuinely. So if someone will say like, I watched London play Caledonia on Friday, and then on Sunday I picked up one of the games as well. Okay, that's cool, but you're missing all the others. Like the spacing of the games is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're doing 3 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's no games of basketball. Yeah. And then they now do it, we're going to take one more game. So you go.
So what would you think is better?
My gut feeling is because of the forming of the league, they maybe some of the Saturdays they can't do because of they didn't have a league in place and other fixtures.
So
have been
what
taken.
are you saying? I'm confused. What you're saying? So it's Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Is that what you're saying?
No. So last season, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you always had a game on a Thursday for some reason.
Yeah.
And then you had a game on Friday, one on Saturday, and then a couple on Sunday. You usually had them spaced out, 4 or 5 games a week, roughly. And you could watch one game a day or, that sort of thing. And there's only a few days that didn't have it. This weekend, last week, they had 2 games on the Friday and then 4 on the Sunday. And you think, who scheduled that? Like, it's terrible. Like, why are we not having any games scheduled on Saturdays?
Yeah.
And then they've had other weeks where they've had it scheduled.
They should
It's obviously a
arrange
scheduling
this
thing.
so it's better with your schedule.
Wow, it's not just my schedule. I
They
think
need to phone you beforehand and go, Mark,
listen, they should.
on this
I'm just
on this
saying.
Friday, are you out? Yeah, you're out. Okay, cool.
Well, my gut is that they obviously had schedule clashes, which is fair enough. And they had to put the league together and they probably lost the opportunity to maybe get that.
I think
just seems odd having a really protracted, like, if you look at
I get what you're saying, but I think you're in a small percentage
that
that will be watching more than...
We've had, because I've looked at that and there's a lot of people saying, I'm missing all the games because there's so many on. And there's lots of people who are putting those messages on.
But
if you
what
go
they
to the
need?
NBA, but if you go to the NBA, a lot of people tend to follow a team, right? The same as with football. And then, if they've said, oh, your favourite team's playing on a Friday and a Sunday, you'd be like, amazing. That's 2 games to get to watch. With the Super League in the UK at the moment, people want to watch more than one game. They actually want to watch other
But
people.
do you know what they need?
What?
Sunday night basketball. Like, match
Yeah.
of the day,
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Listen,
And they go through the games. They don't play the games, but they'll do
We'll
like
hook it up.
extended highlights. That's what they need.
We'll do it. We're going to do a watch
Would you
party
do
at some point.
Sunday night?
Yeah.
Like Sunday night. What would you call it? Sunday night basketball, maybe.
Yeah, we'll do a watch party. That's what we'll do. I've got some stuff that we're going to come and let us know if in the DMs or messages or whatever. We're going to do a watch party on some games. I've got to figure out how to do it with the days and stuff, because as soon as you do it, it blacks out the screen. Even if we're recording here, I have to get a separate computer to watch it on, which is fine because I've got one, but it's a pain in the butt. It blacks the screen as soon as you do it. Obviously, they're trying to not let people screen share, which is totally understandable, but it would black out our cameras because it's on the same computer. So it's a funny one. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into the games. Friday night kicks off London Lions versus Caledonia Gladiators. Obviously, Caledonia last week, they've had a bit of a shift around. And
did we talk about this last week?
We did. You phoned in. Don't you remember?
I remember speaking to you. I have no idea what it said. So assistant coach. Oh, how would you say that? Riera.
Yep.
Louis Riera, would you
Yep.
say that? So he is the interim head coach for the
That's right.
foreseeable future. But, you know, I hope head coach Gareth Murray is doing okay in his new role. He's a bloody legend. I mean, he's been part of that for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, head coach and head coach
Yep.
for 4 years. And he was part of that huge Caledonia run that got the trophy
Yes.
as well.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
I hope, you know, it sounds like they're looking after him. It will be really interesting, and only people involved with the Gladiators will know, but it'll be interesting what has actually happened there.
Yeah, I mean, Caledonia are having it rough at the moment. They are really, really, really having it rough. And we'll go through the table at the end of it. But Lions, look, we talked about them in the trophy.
Found their form.
Yeah, they were choked. They choked in the trophy. Hadn't got anything together. They're all over it at the moment, and they're just rolling. They're totally unstoppable. This was at the Copper Box, and the Lions extended their championship to 4-0 based on this one. 98-76 win, and it was dominant. I mean, I could go into loads of the details. I'll just put some stuff down here for like Jaden Delea, for example. 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. And the Gladiators, they were trying. Tanner Stuckman, Patrick Whelan, they were really trying to get over, but there was loads of turnovers. And I mean, when I say loads of turnovers, it was a little bit embarrassing watching that. And London, they just surged off the bench. 22-point victory in the end. But I've got to get this name right. And this is, I'm going to put
Jaden Delea, is that what you're going to say?
No.
It doesn't happen often when you get double doubles or triple doubles.
No.
Not in the SLB. So when you see one, you've got to give him a shout out, Mark.
Hadzibedgovic. Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Hadzibedgovic.
Number 44. Is it number 44?
Centre. Really tall guy. Monster. Early in Q1. Hadzibedgovic.
It's got to be
Bejovic.
Alan. Just call him Alan.
Alan, right. So, post up from Rye.
That is so British. I can't say his name, so I'm just going to call you Alan. Alan Hedge.
But the last couple of games, I've said he is someone that you've got to watch. He is not only is a big, like they have him listed like a forward rather than a centre, but he's like a centre. He's almost like Porzingis was, like for the Celtics stuff. He's got that. He's a really tall guy. I'm not seeing him shooting outside much, although he did. But it's one of these ones where he matched up with Rye, and they've got this thing now at London where Rye did this one, and it's like dish off, bang, in for an easy 2. Then someone picked his, I think it was Adebayo, got a quick steal, passed it off to him again, bang, dunk.
Ryan and this new guy are working. They're working nicely together.
They are.
I think Rye
Absolutely.
said that earlier. He was saying he feels the team are starting to gel more, even when they were losing in the trophy.
And there was a really nice dunk from Ovi Soko. He picked someone, and it was like a Giannis kind of dunk. I don't know if you saw, like he did it was like one of the, when Giannis does his like 2 big steps. He did it. He took him off, and it was like 1, 2. It was a lovely flush, and it was nice. Like you could tell he was like, "Yeah, I enjoyed that one."
Mark, you got to give a shout out to Jaden Delea though.
Yeah,
With 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, Mark.
I did indeed. But I'm also going to mention Brisker. Between Hadzibedgovic, Rye, and Brisker, That's the power three now at London. There's no question of that. Like, there was a move and Rye came down the baseline, and what I think he's, people say worry about what Cheshire have lost and what they're gaining by having Aaron Rye at London. I think he's given them space, because he went down low and he came down on the left point, drew two people straight in, because they're like that. We're not giving him space. Because he gave him space, he was able to do a bounce pass in the key, and then Brisker just picks up that pass. It wasn't an easy layup, but bang, straight in. And you go, to do a bounce pass in the key in traffic is difficult. It's going to get picked 9 times out of 10, isn't it? But the fact that Rye commands that people crush down on him, they're like, we're not going to give him space because he's going to do something. That's what he's given London. He's actually giving everyone else space to breathe, because they keep collapsing on him. And then there's always a player free. There's always someone that they can just go, here's the ball. And Brisker is one of those guys who's constantly looking for that. He's the kind of person that you or like your brother would like, where, when someone's on an offense and you're like, no one's moving. He's that guy who's like in the back, like, here I come. And he's just making those plays all the time. And in a later game in the week, you see it again. It's just like, these guys, they're all suddenly just connect. It's great to see. But I will say this, Caledonia, they've fallen off a bit of a cliff. It's Thompson had one of his first outings with it. He missed 2 out of 3 free throws in Q1. And, I know you're trying to settle into the team. He's new to the team this season. But if you had the strength to go, I'm going to take this 3-pointer, and he got fouled at that, and then you missed 2 out of 3 free throws, that can't be good for your confidence. I know you're going to get back up if you're a shooter and do it again, but free throws is a big part of this week.
We know your thoughts on free throws, Mark.
No, it's not. It's so much bigger than me. It's so much bigger than me this week. But yeah, so that was the Lions in Caledonia. And I'm going to give another credit here before we move on to the next game. London Lions is one of, if not the best, for the videography. When you're watching on DAZN, and shout out to DAZN, because I think it's so much better than it was on YouTube last year. I think DAZN's really, really good for watching not only the highlights, but the full games. They have like the proper images come up. I think they've done a really good job with that. But the quality of the colour and the image that comes over from London is, I think that's the standard everyone else should hit.
Oh.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because then when you go to some of the other games, it is not so good.
I know some of the, like, I say Cheshire is probably one that's quite bright. Feels very bright.
Very, very. Do you know one that I was really surprised at this week was Newcastle's one.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. If you watch the Newcastle game, which we're coming on to next, against Surrey 89ers, it was really like yellowy. It looked like, when someone puts one of those filters on a picture, it just had that like sepia sort of, it didn't look nice at all.
I can't remember
the camera angle,
name, but the new rookie for Surrey looks all right.
Well, yeah, let's get to the game. So Newcastle were playing against Surrey. Newcastle took the win, 81-77. And took North in the Eagle's Nest, as you like to call it.
Eagle's Nest, yeah.
That was a close game. You're
London's the Palace. Just saying, going back to that one.
So Surrey did really well. Like Mervyn James and Josh Steele, they were doing really well, but their turnovers were just in the fourth. They were just all over the place. But the guy that I want to talk about is Cole Long. 23 points, 5 rebounds, right? The amount of points that he kept getting, and they kept giving him the spot to go and shoot the shot. It's like, why are you doing that? They kept giving him this area, and you thought, this is insanity. Like, he keeps shooting from this spot and hitting them. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think he got 23 points. I think he got 5 3-pointers. And at one point, the stat, it said something like 3 out of 10 for 3 points by Q2 or something. And the 3 that were made were him. He'd only taken 3 threes and he hit all of them.
Oh, wow.
And one of them, he came up to the middle, like top of the arc, hit the shot. And not much long, I don't know, a couple of minutes after, he got back in the same position again. The defenders are backing off him, letting him take a shot. And you're like...
Well, what defense were they? Was it man-to-man? What were they playing? Do you remember? Oh, it doesn't matter.
It looked like the defender dropped back and you go, get up on... You've just watched him hit that shot. He hit the shot. A little bit later on, he had another opportunity. He thought, what? Like, don't... He clearly likes that shot. And, you know, everyone...
After the first one, you'd go...
The first one, you go...
to get out there. The second one, it's like, you're not having that again.
So I see this as not a two problem thing.
Maybe that guy is just really good.
Like, look, you've got a certain place that I know if I got you the ball and you were going to go take... I think, okay, you're quite safe with this here.
Cheers.
Taking a shot. No, what I mean is there's certain places around the court. If I said... All right, Steve's going to get a ball at the top key. Timmy's going to be down on the right-hand side and get a 3.
You're using references.
I know that people don't know.
30 years ago.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but this is what I'm trying to say is there's places that people can shoot. If your brother had a ball down low here and he did this shimmy thing before he does his turn, you go, I know that's a safer shot than some other ones that was an option, right? If someone hits that shot, you go, he clearly is comfortable taking that shot. Don't give him that shot. Now, this is his second or third attempt at that. So now we're in NBA Jam territory of he's already heated up. Now he's on fire.
No, I get what you're saying.
Don't give him the shot.
Once the first one goes in, you're like, okay, second one goes in.
And then they give him a second. It's like...
He's probably a quick guy and they've been told back off.
They have 5 of them.
Yeah. Like after the second one, it's like, get a hand in his face. But I haven't seen this game, so I can't comment.
So massive shout out to Cole Long because honestly, it's say 81-77. Eagles didn't win that game. Surrey lost that game. That's my note.
But look, Surrey, they didn't start great, but look, they're in and around it. And Newcastle aren't pushovers, especially in the Eagles' nest.
No.
So for that to be a 4-point game, that says something about Surrey.
Yeah, and Hibbert missing 3 throws at the end. I mean, I've got to shout that out because look, it was a 4-point difference in the game, and you go, when you get into this point, you want to be hitting those to extend your lead. You can't be within a 4-point game. It can change just like that, and in your last 40 seconds, you're missing 3 throws. It's like that's not acceptable, and quite badly as well. Not just like that just pinged around. So yeah, that's one of those scores that doesn't necessarily view the game because it was a good game to watch. By the colour.
So off to Bomber Command now, Mark. Yeah.
We are Bomber Command to Sunday.
I hope these names stick.
Bomber Command. I like that.
You can call it the
Aerodome.
This is the Copper Box or the legal, but the fans.
Bomber Command.
Hey, this is the Palace. You're coming in the Palace.
Flight school.
You're coming in Bomber Command.
Bomber Command, not Top Gun.
If they look, I mean, at Bristol. Called the Flyers. If they haven't got
they were called.
Do you know the World War II sirens?
Yes.
When all the light, I'm assuming all the lights go out and with lights.
So
that's what I'd be doing lights in the sky like that with the sirens coming off.
Oh yeah, I mean look, Filton.
That's off the top of my head.
Filton is one of the heads of aerospace in the UK. Like you've got Airbus down there, GK and all those sort of guys.
But I'm saying it's. Like you called the Bristol Flyers, it's set up. The entertainment is set up for you. Like
well, they used to be.
Lights.
They used to be Filton. Used to be Filton Flyers before it was Bristol Flyers.
And actually, you've got loads of Top Gun stuff you could use.
Yeah.
Loads of stuff.
Oh, I think they'd lean into it. You know, you could do all sorts like the
Bristol is quite high up on my list to go first with.
Yeah, and you know they got some great things going on.
Dan Buster's song, Dan. If they win, Dan.
So look, the Flyers played Manchester, and this was one of my favourite games of the week.
Yeah.
So I would say Sunday had the best 2 games of the week personally. Bristol versus Manchester.
There's another double in here, Mark.
At SGS College Arena.
Doesn't happen often.
Manchester absolutely flew out the game. I actually had this one on, and I thought, like when you're doing the household stuff, and you got the game on as well. doing the ironing, you know, classy.
You're
And
doing stuff whilst these games are being played.
yeah, you know, like you ironing while you're watching the telly, you know, doing stuff
You
like that.
iron? What are you ironing?
T-shirts. You got to have them nice and crisp.
You iron your T-shirts?
Yeah.
For what?
To make them look nice and crisp.
For
Rather than
what?
look at...
Put them on. They iron themselves out as you walk out the door after 30 seconds.
Really? Are you serious?
If you screw them up,
You've got to iron your T-shirt. You've got to make them look nice and crisp.
If you what? You just put your T-shirt on.
Tell me you don't iron your socks as well.
Are you winding me up? Do I need to take my jumper off? Do you want to? I do not iron this T-shirt. Hang on. You carry on talking. I'll be back.
Look at that. There you go. Ironed. Nice. And I got Mavericks on there as well. Dude, you got to iron. See, yeah, see, that needs an iron. That needs an iron. Needs a little go over.
What are you talking about?
See the top where your neck is? Yeah, like that side, on that side.
What are you talking about?
That side there. Yeah, that one. There's wrinkles. I'd iron that out. I'd literally, it takes like 2 seconds. You put it over the iron thing, you go, done, over the other side, crisp, lovely. Mate,
Bomber Command.
You're missing out. Right.
Bomber Command.
So, watching this, I genuinely thought, this is all over. Like Q1, I thought, that's it, game. Because Manchester just completely controlled the game. And it was actually at that point where I was thinking, Manchester are a real force this year. The ease at which they were throwing that ball around. And Bristol they weren't even answering. It was like they just weren't in the game. And then it changed. Got was it Q2, Q3? And Evan Walsh sort of like picked up. And he started I think it was 22 points, 7 rebounds off the bench. But he was one of the factors. And once I can't put my finger on it, but just suddenly I went, oh, hang on a minute, there's a game here. And they were suddenly within 10 points. Then it was a 5-point game. You thought, oh. And they just carried on going. Manchester absolutely dominated. Like KO, Madout, like they ran rings around them. And Bristol kept chipping away. The best, the ballsiest, snowflake warning, but the best and ballsiest
Snowflake warning.
overtime clutch play I've seen. An alley-oop for a dunk.
Nice.
Like literally you got 7 seconds on the ball and they're like, yeah, for an alley-oop. Comes in, 2-hand slam. Oh, okay. But they were running down the shot clock and you thought that was absolutely, that was Isaiah Moore. Absolutely unbelievable that was.
I got a sound for Bristol Flyers.
That pushed it to overtime. But unfortunately.
That's a good one, isn't it?
What's a good one? I can't hear anything.
Hang on. What I'm going to do is
What are you playing now?
turn that off.
Right.
Check this out. This is for Bristol.
Nice.
That's the kind of stuff I'd be using. Like all the lights out.
It kind of reminds me of like a slightly eerier version of The Undertaker coming in. Where they did the old gong. And then that was it. The lights all went out. So yeah, that went into overtime. Bristol capitalised on that. Absolutely sealed that victory. That should have been Manchester's game. By the half, you thought, I'm not saying you turn it off, but you think, I know where this game's going. And Bristol completely changed it. So massive credit to them. Got back into it, got to overtime and then won it. So yeah, really, really good game go. And I will say I was talking about the video quality. SGS College Arena there looked really good. And the cameras, it was all, it's the minimum standard we should expect. So I don't know what was happening in Newcastle, but it looked terrible. The actual stream, it looked really bad. And that just highlighted it further. But yeah, Manchester, I think they could cause some real upsets this year. Their team looked really, really handy. And without Evan Walsh, I don't think Bristol would have come together.
Just struggling to get off the mark, really. Same thing with Caledonia. Just struggling to get off the mark. But yeah, let's see what happens.
I think it's deeper with Caledonia. But speaking of Caledonia, we're going straight to them.
We're going to the Highlands, Mark.
We are going to the Highlands.
I haven't got one for them yet. The Highlands. The problem is, I like to call them the Highlands. You come into the Highlands.
It's got to be some
but
bagpipe.
It's too generic.
It's got to be something bagpipe.
But let's say Falkirk Fury or
no.
someone like that comes in the league.
Is it?
Then you can't say the Highlands anymore because it's more. It references. You know what I mean?
What's the name of the? That's Ireland, isn't it? Where they have that drum, where they go that. You know the.
You're still thinking the entertainment. Yeah, I'd be having bagpipes for them.
It'd just be irritating as hell, wouldn't it?
Or I don't know what you'd play, but yeah, I don't know what to call their home court. The only one I can think of is the Highlands.
The kiln.
What?
The kiln.
You come into the
kiln.
What's that?
It's like an oven where you cook stuff.
But they only use it in Scotland.
No. What was where's the old man in Lochnagar? He lived in a thing, didn't he? What was it called? It's something. There'll be something like that. It's the book that Prince Charles wrote, or King Charles now, but it was a book called The Old Man of Lochnagar.
Mark, he's been king for over a year.
Yeah,
you said Prince.
No, when he was Prince Charles, he wrote the book.
I want to think about Caledonia because I want to get a good one for them.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm toying with Highlands. Or the Highlands Castle. They've got a lot of castles up there, haven't they? Locks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll think off air. I'll take that one off air, Mark.
Okay. Yeah. Look, Gladiators were hosting the Eagles.
The Eagles were soaring.
That did not go
in
well.
Scotland.
90-76 to the Eagles. I mean, that Micah Kuru, absolutely unstoppable. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Gladiators, Tanner Stuckman, he was good, and Fraser Malcolm, an old favourite with the Gladiators, but Newcastle was way too efficient on offence. And their defence in the fourth it kind of like collapsed on them. And that was it. Caledonia had nothing. They had absolutely nothing. They couldn't.
Could you say they're about to start a rebuild?
Yeah, I mean Caledonia are in trouble big time. If where the head coach has moved, now they've got an interim. They've got fresh faces. Yeah, like Ian DeBose, he's gone now, for example. And you go like, wow, there's some players and names that you go, you're going to be missing.
Yeah,
some of the big hitters, they're not there anymore.
It's almost like they were trying to make that run. They haven't got it, and now it's kind of.
There is one positive. There was one positive from Caledonia, and I'm going to give a shout out. I think it was Q3 or Q4. I think it was Q3. The video feeds are for DAZN. So again, DAZN, if you're watching, you're awesome. They showed some of the halftime stuff and some of the the entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
The dancers came out and they had the dancers doing the routine. Right. And I was like, that is awesome. Because if you're showing that, I know like even in the NBA, they don't show some of that stuff, do they? But showing that stuff, you go, oh, they had a full thing. The lights went down, bang. They were doing this performance, the whole thing. And you go, that's awesome. So I loved that. And I love the fact that people are doing it and they're actually putting that much effort to entertain everyone.
I think you've got like a good solid 5 teams in the UK really doing it well.
It's a night of entertainment.
You would see that in the NBA, but people pay for adverts.
Exactly.
And that's why you don't see it.
And that's why you can't do it. But that's what I had to put that in. I thought, hang on. And then also, after they did that, you then saw it flip to kids at halftime. There's all the kids like lined up ready to run in and take their shot and stuff. And you go, I love it, because that is what we see on a force game. That is what we see in a local league. That's what you see, like, well, not local league, but local teams in lower leagues and stuff. It's still involving the crowd.
People think I'm joking when I say I compare the Portsmouth Force in National League Div 3.
The announcer went, defense, like over the mics.
Yeah, they're allowed to.
I know, but I thought, can they do that? And they are allowed to do that, aren't they? But I thought, that's That's a new one.
No, like, so if you go to certain teams, you'll see that, like, London Lions very, come on, guys, we're going to say defense. You know what I mean? Like, or, I mean, that's more, I don't know how to say it, but it sounds like that London accent.
Know what I mean?
That's more Manchester, isn't it? But it's,
What boys got to say that.
just going back to what I said, I genuinely believe that the Portsmouth Force National League Div 3 is comparable to those 5 teams. And unless you come...
Entertainment-wise,
unless you come and see it for yourself, you won't believe us. But it's but yeah, so what we've got coming up with the Force, what I was going with this is the actual MP3s we're playing.
Yes.
So now has got the defense in it. So defense. And I picked that up from when I was in the States, where I was hearing defense and I was like, hang on, is that coming from the speakers or is that people saying it?
It's in the thing, yeah.
And I thought that's really clever. They're taking that defense chance and they're putting in the MP3s that they're playing.
Yeah.
And now, because you do that, you don't need the announcer to go, come on, let's say defense. It sounds
less
crap.
cheap, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it just cheapens everything.
But that's what that was the thing that really hit me more than anything else. Credit to them for like jeering the crowd up and stuff. And I will say, I'll be honest, I thought Caledonia's crowd were quite flat in that game.
Wow.
They were getting...
Wow, you're being harsh to...
No, they were getting their bucks kicked.
You're being harsh to my Scottish brothers tonight, Mark.
No, but that's why it was a shout out to the Caledonian dancers and to everyone in that like team. Because
put on
as it was all
bagpipes
flat
when this is finished, and we're going to listen to it.
Are we going to enjoy it? Are we? We're going to eat a battered Mars bar and haggis as well, yeah?
Don't diss haggis. Have you ever eaten haggis?
Yeah, it's filth.
Oh, it's lovely.
Shut up. No, it's not. You don't like haggis.
Got to have a bit of haggis on Burns night, Mark.
You don't eat haggis.
It is traditional.
You don't eat haggis.
Every Burns night, I have haggis.
Shut up. You
I
do
swear
not.
to God.
You eat haggis.
On Burns night,
So I will go buy you the haggis for this Burns night coming up.
Next time
I will buy that haggis for you and be like, there you go.
What am I going to do with a haggis?
Eat it, apparently.
I don't know what to do, but I tell you what, next time I'm...
Well, you don't know what to do. You said you eat one every Burns night.
Now you're asking me to cook it.
I'll find a way to... I'll find out who's cooking one and we'll get it just eat.
Look, every Burns night, I have a haggis. I go out for a meal, a few of the lads, and we have a haggis. Oh, nice bit of gravy. All the Scottish boys have a shot of whiskey with it. Or some of them pour the whiskey on the haggis. I don't like that. I don't like it. And they're like, oh, yeah, bloody English softy.
Like, yes.
I will take a picture for you. But yeah, haggis is lovely, Mark. You are dissing.
Yeah, you'll be... What, do you have...
My Scottish
do you have the
heritage.
Do you have black pudding with your breakfast as well, yeah? That delicious treat. Can I have some dry blood and heat it up, please? Lovely.
I think I took some footage of it when it happens.
I've eaten
Scottish
it.
Guy,
I've eaten it more than I've eaten all sorts of. I've tried all these things. I don't like them, but
like
I'll try
a
it.
ceremony like they'll do with a big fat guy and a little small guy, and he's going comparing the two guys, and he gets the haggis, gets a knife out and stabs the knife, and then everyone eats haggis. Anyway, right, Mark, we're off to the Shark Tank.
The Shark Tank with Leicester Riders.
That's a good one. These names got to stick. Look. Leicester Riders in the stables.
Listen, honestly, 79-61 and Rodney Chapman III. 20 points, 6 rebounds and 5 assists. But it was a team performance, this one. And I would say I was shocked. That's how far I go with how, not how far the Riders have fallen, but I thought, okay, these are going to be one of the teams that we're going to see at the top this season. Sharks absolutely dominated them. And it wasn't just Rodney, it was all of them. Every single person. Jalen Hunter, Charles Thompson, they were doing okay, doing their bits as they do for Leicester, but honestly, Sheffield was totally dominant. And their defense in the second half, yeah, you weren't getting past that. There was the two things I got from this. It sounds really stupid. But Chapman actually followed up his shot. And that sounds really stupid, but he took a 3 at one point, but followed it. Rather than take the shot and then wait for the glory, like, it's going to go in, he followed it up, caught his own rebound, dished it back out to one of the other players, who then hit the 3 and it went in. And you go,
I bet there's a lot of coaches looking at that going, nice.
that's what you're supposed to. Yeah, and you go, look, that was one of his 5 assists and also one of his 6 rebounds. But that's being a team player. And I looked at that and thought, not many people do that. That's lost on it. So I should put something that's lost on players. But Sheffield are an absolute force this season. And they've got that whole, there's a couple of good players, Chapman one of them, but as a team, they're just solid, just all round. So, yeah, Leicester, that was a bad performance. So, I wouldn't want to say too much about that, really. I just thought, if you're getting 61 points in a game, and when you watch it, you thought, there is no quality here at all. Like,
wow.
It was sloppy. Just missing the ball. Indecision. That was probably the thing that comes to mind for me there. Whereas the Sharks were always going for it.
It feels like there's definitely been a shift in transition with some teams from the trophy to the actual championship.
Yep. Let's go to it. The game of the week. The game of the week.
In Cheshire, I'll be honest, I'm working on the Cheshire home court name.
I've got one for you, but you have to snowflake warning.
Snowflake warning?
Dog shit. That's what it is.
What?
It looks awful. Cheshire's thing, it just looks like you're in a
name for the venue.
Yeah, that is it. Because it's look, if you see SGS, that's in an arena, but it's a public arena. If you same thing with Surrey, you look at it's a public place.
It's very bright.
Cheshire, yeah, and it looks just like
sports hall.
It looks like the sports hall. It's like they've got to do something with it because it just looks so bad. On TV, it looks awful, and when you see it, you think,
They can't do anything with that though.
I
they
know.
can't say because it's a sport, so we can't take her. I mean, they can't turn half the lights off, can they?
No, I know. Something has to be done. It just looks shocking. It really does. But look, what a game! An absolute.
Cheshire are doing all right, and also shout out to the Cheshire fans. I love the fact that they
travel.
No, so this is Cheshire home. But
I know, but no, they do travel. Some of the Cheshire fans genuinely go on the road, and you see them and you hear them in some of the other games.
But I really liked Aaron Rye. This is the first time he's come back to Cheshire since leaving for London, and he had a nice welcome back into where he played his first season.
He gave the old.
Yeah,
he gave him the clap.
Yeah, you know what? It's I think the Cheshire fans did themselves proud there.
Look, did you see it with Klay Thompson when he went and played at Golden State?
Yeah.
And they all got the captain's hats. And it's all of the Golden State team. You think he was there 14 years. As a mark of respect, they all had captain's hats and they were all waving it to him. You go, that's how you do it. Classy. Be classy about it. He's gone everywhere, but you go, look, he won you guys 4 chips. Like, respect that. Aaron Wright, yeah, you can't say anything.
Talking about being classy, Mark, with London. We'll come on to that in a bit.
Yeah.
You said the same thing as I said.
Yeah. Look, for me, Lions.
We got to get his name right. Alan Hadzibejovic, number 44.
Hadzibejovic. Yeah. Listen.
I loved his
And
dunk.
do you know what? I'm taking that Hadzibejovic. I'm taking that directly from our good friend Dan Routledge because he was the one who was commentating in this game.
Oh, nice.
And do you know what? I loved it. I love listening to him because he gets really excited. And he's like, oh my God, they're going to win. I love hearing someone who's really gets excited when they're commentating rather than just, oh, there's another 2. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You want to hear someone passionate. It was brilliant. Look.
I loved his dunk over Scott Grayson. He drove in. She's like, that was like with venom.
Yeah.
Hey, but I will say, Tyreek Scott Grayson, he got his revenge with a kind of a reverse of exactly
Scott Grayson.
what happened.
Yeah. Scott Grayson did it. Yeah.
And he ended with 28 points.
Look, Michael Brisker, star for London. No question that. 27 points, 5 assists. But it's the same matchup that I was saying. Aaron Rye, some clutch moves. He was like creating that space around the court where suddenly you go, everyone's crushing on him. And they're not ISOing him. They're actually bringing him in and they're going, we need a second, which is then pulling another player off. And you go, there's someone down deep here. Then they're also swinging over here. Meanwhile, Hadzibejovic is just running into the center and just cutting it. And you go,
he's an exciting player.
Yeah, but you look at it and you go, why isn't, like, how do you get a body on him? He's a big guy. You can't get a body on him. And they're just passing him the ball high. He's taking it, turning, poof, that's it. You're not stopping that. It's really, 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 really interesting. And remember Lions last year? They had very similar not similar style, but the same thing where you had like Matt Morgan and everyone at the top, and they'd be dishing it down low into the center to try and get those shots in from like Sam Decker and the like.
Charm. Was it Charm?
Yeah.
Charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those sort of...
You've got to be looking at the coach then.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. You look at that style and you go, what are they doing? They're bringing the space, and the bigs are the ones who are cutting in. It's not, let's get the little guys. It's like little guys on the perimeter, let the big guys come in. But what's Aaron Rye's quite a reasonably big guy himself. So he's actually moving that offense the whole time, but everything's going through him. And Brisker's just finishing that off. But that link up that they've got between those three,
they're working really well together.
Look, late free throws from Adebayo. I've got to say that, and that helped them because it just
Adebayo,
got some late free throws, and I just want to put that in because when you're playing that game, they're away at Cheshire. It's an important game.
When it ends in a 4-point game, they make a big difference.
They make a huge difference. Hadzibejovic hit the three, and then there was a steal. And I think it was Adebayo, I'm not sure who it was, who got the steal, flicked it back out to Hadzibejovic, and then he went and got the dunk. And you're like, the guy's just scored 5 points back to back. Like, you're not stopping him.
Yeah.
If he wants to score, he's almost just freely scoring. Skylar White, got to talk about him. He hit one big shot, and he was acting like, oh, this is how amazing it is. You go, mate, you were struggling a lot of that game.
I said to you about this last year where he'll hit some big shots, and you'll go, oh man, he's hit 3 threes, and you'll listen to the commentators and like, man, he's hit some 3 threes tonight, and you look at it and go, yeah, he's also missed like
12.
Yeah. And that was always one of the things. He could go on fire and get 12 out of 12. But that was one of the things I noticed about his game is kind of live by the 3, die by the 3.
Yeah. And it was like Skylar White hit, like it was a big miss, and then there was a block straight into a foul, and it was like it all just happened so fast.
But he's shooting a lot of threes. He hits 2 of those threes, they've won the game.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. So yeah, we'll come on to that. We'll definitely come to that.
Can I just say Dallaire as well? Dallaire with 10 points and 12 rebounds. That's a double-double.
Yeah.
That's 2 double-doubles in 2 games for him.
Yeah. I will say this.
And it doesn't happen often, which is why I always highlight triple-doubles and double-doubles.
Yeah.
And two games in a row?
Hey, we got to give Russ.
He's my hero of the
week.
week.
We're talking triple-doubles and double-doubles, we got to take this moment, hit a round of applause, please, to my man Russell Westbrook. First player ever in NBA history to get more than 200 triple-doubles. Like,
oh, nice.
He's like number 1 now. No one's hit over 200. So
there you go.
whether you like Russ Westbrook or not, you can't argue with efficiency. If you're getting over 200 triple-doubles, that's saying something, isn't it? But player for the game for me in Cheshire, Cam Christon. I love it. He is so fired up. The 2 notes I put here were rebound to an ugly 3, because he went up and he got this board and he thought, oh, that's nice. What's he going to do? And the 3 looked like, one of those ones where you're going to hock it from the like halfway line, where you're leaning and he did one of those from the 3-point line. It's like, I don't know if the shot clock was running. I didn't piece that together, but it was so ugly, but it went in. And then straight afterwards, it was like a T-Mac sort of thing. Literally, they inbounded the ball, bang. He got a steal, bang, massive dunk. And you're like, this is unbelievable. It was like just one of those little scenes you thought, no, this is ridiculous. And then he celebrates the steal and then hits a 3. like, what's going on?
On fire.
He was honestly, he was just so hyped up for it, and that was my takeaway from the whole thing. You said it a few weeks before you left when we did the trophy, that like everyone was up for it. Every single player was like, I want to win this, and that's why I loved that game, and that's why I loved the Manchester and Bristol game as well, because it was a really competitive.
I was thinking
Really
about
competitive game.
I was thinking about this the other
Whereas
night.
Sharks and Riders before that, like the Riders they just didn't turn up at all. It was no one. It thought this is a poor standard. It was like a poor standard of basketball, like really poor. And the Sharks they're playing okay, but Riders were just rubbish. Whereas this one, this was a
Game of the week.
Yeah, it was game of the week, and you know what? It was a good win for London. You got to give them credit. They fought for that win.
But I was thinking about this week, and I think a lot of the fast-paced enthusiasm and all that is just a thought. Is from this injection of American players that have come over. And I think I said to you the other day that I think the league is not better, but it feels like it's really got this momentum at the moment with all this
pace.
injection of players. And then I thought, and I said it reminds me of going back maybe a couple of years and going, it's comparable now. And I think that might be a wrong thing to say. I think I would say it feels more youthful.
So one of the Cam Christen dunks in that game
feels like it's fresh start, which kind of makes sense.
And I think he landed on the floor after he came in and dunked it and put it in. He was on the floor like, got it back. By the time he got back up, the ball was inbounded already at the halfway line. Yeah. Like they were moving that ball.
It feels like a real youthful.
Yeah, they were not sitting around.
And they're just like, I've got a point to prove. Like these players are playing like, I've got a point to prove.
Well,
they probably want to get out of here, if you know what I mean. I want to prove a point and get over to the States or get over to Europe. This is the springboard. Yeah, that's how it feels. But look, it's great. It's great for the league.
Embrace it.
It's great for the league.
If the UK goes and does anything and wants to be a springboard for the league, for other leagues, why not? Why not? Why not do that? You know?
I'll be honest, I kind of wanted Cheshire to beat London here, because the only thing I was a little disappointed with the league last season, it was just like London had won it after like week 6. That's how it felt. And you were like, and it's almost like you just forgot about London and you was focused on the teams below it. Yeah. And when you look and say they're 5 out of 5 in the championship, everyone else has already lost a game. Yeah. Everyone else has already lost. No, sorry. 2 teams have lost 1 game. Everyone else has lost at least 2 games. Yep. And you look at that and go, I hope we don't have one of those seasons where it's just they walk again, because it's a bit like the Formula 1 when a team just walks it. Do you know what I mean? And you think, if I miss a little bit, it doesn't really matter. And that's what I hope doesn't happen this season.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think it's a shame, really, because like, look, if you have a look at the thing here, got London Lions on top, Newcastle Eagles right behind them, and Sheffield Sharks, then Sheffield, then Bristol, then Leicester, Surrey, then Manchester, Caledonia. Now I look at that, and I wouldn't put that from the games that I saw this weekend. I wouldn't have had that order at all. Sharks, Cheshire, 3rd, 4th. Yeah, probably Bristol. Yeah, probably right that. Leicester would maybe. I would have Manchester way higher up than that. I'd put Manchester next to Bristol, personally. Even, judging by that game, that could have gone either way.
They need to get the wins first, Mark.
They got to get, I mean, look, played, but
wins mean points. Points mean prizes.
Oh, for God's sake. Look, this is my problem. London, games played, 5. Sheffield, games played, 5. Manchester, games played, 2. And there's something wrong with the scheduling.
No, but that's what happens, isn't it? Like some teams are playing certain games. That's what happens.
Yeah, but when you've only got 9 teams in here, like if everyone's on 3 games, and a couple are on 4 or so, that's fine.
Interestingly, that's what happened last season. London.
This is what my
London
point
had
was.
loads of fixtures.
Yeah,
didn't
why
they?
did London suddenly get all the fixtures? And last season, everyone was talking
Are you
about
saying it's rigged, Mark?
it. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Why is it that London get all the fixtures early? Why is that happening?
I don't know.
I don't know. But it's just
But,
it
like
just-
Eagles are only one away.
Yep. So look, the Sharks have had 5 as well. But at the same time, you go, it's not just picking on London. It's like, why have 2 teams had 5 games, and 2 teams have 4 games, and then 1 team's only had 2?
That is
Like that.
that is your homework for next week.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't seem right.
And my homework is I'm going to officially come up with some home court names.
Oh, really?
So I've got London,
Yeah.
Eagles,
Yeah.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
I need to come up with one for Cheshire.
Yes.
Bomber Command got them.
Yep.
Leicester Riders have gone for the Stables, but it feels a bit weak, that one, so I might change that one. You know what I'd be doing if I was on their home court? I'd be focused, the Riders of Rohan. Like, death! And everyone's standing going, death!
I thought you were going to do that.
Like,
Riders
that, I mean, but
on the
all
stone.
the emotion and music they're playing. I don't know if they've got a screen there. We'll find out when we go there.
Oh,
But, like-
no. Riders, you know what music that should be? Do you remember that Guinness? Do you remember the Guinness advert? It won, I think, some awards, and it was the ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the horses it was a wave, and they became horses. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that'd be going. Dun, 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 dun.
And it was like, dun, 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 and it's really like a build-up sort of music, wasn't it? That was a cool one. You're welcome, Leicester, please.
We'll think about the Leicester one. So Surrey, we need one.
Yep.
Manchester, we need one.
89ers. Sorry, that's
Caledonia.
difficult, isn't it?
It is difficult.
There's nothing really to work with there in terms of
Manchester, you
89.
could just be like, just play
Manchester.
some Oasis and just
Manchester.
go. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it does disappoint me they don't have a name. It's just Manchester basketball. But I think the games that I've seen Manchester
Actually,
play.
a lot of bands come up from that Manchester. There's probably something doing something with the bands. As
Yeah, music.
for the music.
I just don't think Manchester are going to be sat where they are at the moment. But Caledonia, 0-4. I mean, they're not having a good season. Lot to play for. But, that's the beauty of the game, isn't it? 1 minute it's going to be one thing, 1 minute it's going to be next. But
I've got 2 more points. What have you got, Mark?
Wow, I've got some stats. So I thought you'd like to hear some stats.
Shoot.
So,
Can I see them?
yeah, well, I'm going to actually...
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'll put them up. Let me share. Let me share with the world. Let's see if this will work. There we go. How's that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. And let's just make this bigger so you can actually see it without your glasses.
Yeah.
How about that?
Getting really
Look
close
at
to the
this.
screen.
So, top.
Oh, look, this is the Hall of Fame.
It's a Hall of Fame and not
For
a Hall
this
of Shame.
week.
Well,
Please say you got a Hall of Shame as well.
there is some negative stats, yes.
Most
So
efficient
look,
score team
this
in
is
London,
not,
nice.
now I'm going to point this out now. This is not just based on people playing, as they do.
Is this season? This is just this season.
This season, yeah. So this is based on this season,
Nice.
not just like weekly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and then in like a few, like maybe by Christmas, we'll do it again. So this is so far most efficient scoring tips. We do it by teams, then we do it by players. But London, you can see the most efficient scoring, 52% on their field goals.
Dan Routledge would love this.
Yeah, best defensive rebounding.
If you're a commentator,
London.
you should have this.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure, no question he
He
does.
will, with his spreadsheets and stuff like that.
Paul, he doesn't need spreadsheets. Dan Routledge. He just sit there and you go, tell me that stat, and he'll be like, this is that's
go.
it. He's like Dumbledore. He just pulls it out the side like there you go. Look in the Pantiev. Most free throws made. 17.4 free throws made per game.
Best 2-point shooting team, Newcastle.
Yeah. I was quite surprised at that.
Why?
Oh, I genuinely thought because the field goal percentage was so good, 2 points would have been Newcastle, would have been London as well. But actually,
So London have kind of covered everything pretty much.
yeah, most
Other
assists
than-
per game,
Other than
most free throws
field goals.
made. defensive rebounds. That's the thing that I love. That it just shows how dominant they were. So
So there you go.
So these are the positive stats for teams. Let's look at some negative ones. Look at these beauties.
Worth 3 point. That makes sense.
Yeah, 20. That's not
Live
even
by
one
the
in three.
three.
Yeah,
Die by the
yeah.
three.
It's not even 1 in 3. Not even 1 in 3.
Lowest field goal.
Lowest field goal, Caledonia. Makes sense. Most turnovers.
Lowest field goal percentage is 41%. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty good when you think about it.
Yeah, 4 out of 10 shots going in. But Caledonia has 17 turnovers a game.
Like for a league, I mean,
Yeah.
you're bottom of the league and it's 41%. I'd be interested to see what the equivalent NBA is.
17 turnovers a game is their average. Yeah. That's why I say they're like so scrappy. Worst free throw shooting team, Newcastle Eagles.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So the field goals are good. Their free
But their
throws
free
are
throw
poor
shooting,
at 60%.
60% for a team, bear in mind, right? And then,
Yeah,
and then, you know, that's leaving points on the table. 60% shooting if you're a team.
one block per game for the Sharks.
Yeah, limited. Very limited.
So can I just quickly just go back to that thing? This is just random, nothing to do with what you've highlighted there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not going to say where he plays, but I was talking to someone last night, and there's a guy called Tony, and he's got the greatest nickname of all time.
Shout out to Tony.
He's called Turnover Tony.
Oh,
It just popped in my head when I saw turnovers.
sorry, Tony.
Right.
Unlucky.
So that's the Hall of Shame. This is back. This is the heroes of
This
the
is
week.
the heroes so far in the league for players.
Alan
Hadzabejovic.
Hadzabejovic.
Alan Hadzabejovic. Look at that percentage, 73%. That's because he's flushing all those dunks down. 73%. 75% on 2-pointers. Look at that. Brisker, top scorer. Well, we've seen that. He consistently is getting over 20 points a game. 22.6 is the average.
Cole Long, you were talking about him?
Yeah. Cole Long, the reason he's got that stat is because of those 5 threes that he's made, basically, in that last game this week.
I mean, this is early.
Yeah.
This is still early.
This is week 3.
Yeah.
Week 3, remember, of the championship. But how good is that? He's 10 out of 17 shots he's made on a 3-point. If he's getting the ball now, they should be, and he's outside. He's a big guy. He's a tall guy as well. You be like not letting him have a shot. You just be get someone who's, doesn't matter how big they are, just get someone who's just gonna just be all over him.
Best free throw shooter, 88%.
Yes, this is
Gotta
why
be
Brisker went.
someone at 100. There must that stat must take someone out that's like 1 for 1.
Possibly.
Because someone's come in, hit a free throw, and they're 100%.
I can look at the stats.
There
in a
always
second
is
right now.
in the league.
I will look right now and have a look at the stat. But there will be. I don't think anyone was 100. But
Kendall
88.
Lewis. Nice.
Yes, rebounds a game. And look, we got to go for the negatives as
Hang on,
well.
what are we saying? Are these the villains of the week?
These are the villains.
That's out of order.
These are the ones who've got to pull their socks up.
Hang on, what? We're going to highlight
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah,
This is harsh.
this is harsh. I love it. Look, worst field goal percentage in volume, 24%.
Wow.
Like 3-point shooting. Who did we just talk about? Skylar White.
Look, I don't think those numbers will be different.
7
too
for
far
25
away from last year.
No, 28%. It's literally what you were saying.
What I will say,
7 out of 25. And when he hits one, he celebrates
the
like
big
he's
ones,
25 for 25.
when the big ones go in,
Yeah.
it hides that stat.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I remember watching a game once. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say a name, and this guy was 0 for 9.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, man, why is this guy still shooting? He's 0 for 9. His 10th one was a huge 3.
Yeah.
1 for 10, and it took the lead.
Yeah.
And he and everyone else celebrated like it was the winning shot.
Yep.
And it was
Doesn't
like,
matter.
and everyone's like, wow, what an amazing game. And in my head, I thought, that was a great shot, but well, you're 1 for 10.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
anyway.
matter. Shooters shoot. If the next one goes out, you shoot the next
Right,
one, it'll go
you're
in.
picking on Isaiah here.
I'm not picking Isaiah. It's literally, these are his stats. Turnovers a game, 7. That's literally what.
You know what? The podcast
Hey.
is he's getting real.
Listen,
It's getting real.
I have just spoken about Rodney Chatney. And I said Rodney Chapman had an amazing game. And now, Rodney, I'm sorry, worst free throw shooter, 40%. Upsetting.
Struggles from the line. It says
Yeah.
struggles at the line to
And
leave
leaves
points on the table.
Look, these are my notes that I use. So, that's why there's some wording on there. But look, lowest scoring efficiency, TJ
Yeah, out of
Atwood.
order.
I don't care.
Look, Mark,
don't
what
care.
I would say is with that, yes, it's a little harsh. However, this is journalism now. We're at a point now where we were being nice, very nice, especially with some of our questions. Now it's like someone has a bad game. It's like, look, you had a bad game.
Yep.
We still like you. We still like your team. We still like the league you play in, but you had a bad game.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
deal
look.
with it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look.
I like that. Let's do that every week if we can.
Okay, well, look. Here we go. Let's go to this.
You know what would be good if we could have an up and down.
You can all see this now, right?
Yeah.
If you go to Super League Basketball, all of you out there listening, go to Super League Basketball, and then you go up to stats, and on the stats page, you've got players, team stats. You can choose what you want. So you can go down the totals. Now,
Do your free throws.
wow, so free throws are right here.
Order it in percentage.
So
Yeah, look,
percentage,
someone's got 100.
there you go, 100%. Jamal Anderson.
But they've only taken a certain amount. So I'd imagine
Well, these are the totals. And that, yeah, they've taken, look, when you get down to,
I can't see where the free throw stat is, but I'd imagine it's like they've had one or two. And
right
that's
here,
why
can you see where my pointer is? Just along that top bit there.
Three throw attempted, three
There.
throw.
Yeah, so there's free throw percentage. Look at this, Prentice Nixon.
12-12, 14-14. Barnes. Does that say Barnes?
Yep.
There you go.
Trevon Barnes, 14 for 14.
People do
RJ
finish
Ethelrog
with 100%.
Yeah.
Come on, Mark, flip it. Let's see the zeros. There you go.
Oh no!
But some of them aren't taken.
Right,
one
so
attempted,
we want
zero.
we want them where they're in the shame, don't we?
Taken 2, missed 2.
Yeah. So which one are we looking at? Which one are we looking at? So we look at free throws made or free throws attempted.
It's just a percentage 0. You know, as long as they're sank in the attempted.
Oh yeah. So
There
they'd
you
be
go.
like here.
Let's
So look,
Let's
we
skip over
were
that.
we were speaking about Alan Hedzabich and his great stats. He's taken 5. His stats aren't that great for that.
I think it's I think
5
I
out of
think
19.
you removed anyone with 0.
Yeah. They're all gone. Yeah.
Right. Well, I got 2 points. Let me just smash through these, Mark.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you've done this
Smash
already,
them.
but
Have I?
Super League Basketball signed a deal, multi-year partnership with Molten.
Yes.
Have you brought this up on the show?
Nope.
There you go. The Molten BG 4,500s are the official game ball
Yes,
of
sir.
the SLB competition for
Yep.
men and women's league for this season.
Yep.
That partnership, I mean, it's been going on for, 20 years. I mean, what was it? Spalding
There we
before
go.
them? Yeah, there
There's
you
Paul.
go. There you go. So it's, I mean, yeah, it's a relationship which is continuing.
There he is.
And talking about basketballs, we
Talk about it.
have got something coming up, an interview on the show to do with basketballs, haven't we? So
Yeah.
let's not. We won't go into. That'll be a nice surprise. When
It'll
that
be a nice
happens, but
surprise.
Yeah, we got something coming up soon, which will be good.
Yep.
And that's that. There you go. I think
That's that.
It's
There you go.
valuable saying. I think we should have a ball episode.
Pardon?
Like, I know we got someone to talk about a specific make of ball,
Yeah.
but I think we should talk about the difference in balls.
Okay.
Because when I was in America, I definitely felt it with the NBA balls. It was like, I imagine it to be the best in the world when I touched it, and it was probably one of the worst balls I've ever touched. It's bizarre. Wasn't expecting it. But looking back, I remember someone buying and purchasing a real NBA ball, and
Yep.
it felt horrible. And you went, oh, and you thought, maybe that can't be an NBA ball. But now it's like, no, that was. Anyway, right. I want to talk about, lastly, got to talk about, I don't know the guy's name. I don't know the guy's name, but it's a young Cheshire Phoenix player who suffered a cardiac incident.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, Well, don't worry about him.
He's 16, playing for the under-18s, and he had an incident back in September. And the Super League actually put out something from the doctor, didn't they? And the doctor from the Super League actually has put a statement about how to deal with this, and the Super League been really, really good about that.
Yeah, I think for anyone listening to the show,
Dr. Amir Pakravan.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with I won't say the specific type necessarily, but it's just understanding people, like if you've had something with any cardiac incident, what you're meant to do for SCA, which is a sudden cardiac incident.
I mean, what I don't think
defibrillators.
I think people realise is when you're playing at this level. I didn't play at that
let's
level.
make him famous. There we go. Bang, there he is. There you are, Amir.
But I don't think people realise when you're playing at a professional level, like I was going to say, I didn't play at a professional level, but I played National League basketball.
Yep.
And the only way how I felt, it was like a sniper had you in the sights and someone whispered, you have to go 100% everything you do, or he pulls the trigger. That's the only way I could explain it to someone. And so when you hear about, people like this, it kind of makes sense. But one of the stats that I pulled off specifically about UK basketball, in athletes, where was it? So again, just for our listeners, if you are playing on the court, the warning signs for cardiac incident is unexplained collapse or sudden collapse. So if someone just goes down, look, this happens. That sounds like you've taken a whiz on your headphones. If someone's having seizure-like movements and they're normally healthy, again, that is a sign straight away. If not breathing or abnormal, inefficient breathing during the collapse. Any of that, look, this, I think they call it
sudden
SCA. That's
sudden cardiac.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Attack.
But the stat I wanted to highlight, it was shocking when I read it.
1 in 100 young individuals have cardiac condition, which people don't know about. Every week, 12 young, fit, healthy, under 35-year-old people die from it. 1 in 300 young individuals have potentially life-threatening ones that they don't even know about. It's all on here on the Basketball England site that you can see.
Yeah, that was it.
Do you know what? Massive respect for Basketball England doing that. Massive respect for the Super League doing it. Any one of you listening know I had heart issues and still have them. We had Keith on, had the same thing. We also talked.
We got a potential guest, or we might just read his story.
Yeah, there's another story coming out. And look, everyone knows about Bronny James and what happened with Bronny James. It was the same thing. His was slightly different because there was something else connected. But ultimately, it's someone in the media, very famous. Everyone knew who he was. He was 20 years old suddenly and fit and super healthy, and then just went bang.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't lived a lifestyle where it's, neglected his body or health. If your dad's LeBron, he couldn't do that.
Life gets serious, and it's you see it.
Yep.
You see it a lot.
So they talk about about accessing defibrillators, how to save it, what to do, what courses are available. And, it's not to get morbid, it's just to get realistic. Look, the same with basketball, with when you're playing any game, do you know where your ice packs are? Do you know where the medikit is? You had your incident. When you're playing a game and those sort of things, a lot of people will turn up to games and just think, oh, it's just this going on. It's all of those things. It's the what ifs.
I genuinely think there should be a first aider on every team.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not just talking professionally, they'll have that. They'll have that. But
you have to.
Local league, I would be thinking that, like when they say, like local league, a lot of people who play basketball know what I'm about to say. They would appreciate what I'm saying is the league will be focused on, do you have a level 2 table official and the level 1 backup table official? And it's like, rather than focus on that crap, which is what it is, why don't you turn around and say, is someone first aid trained on your team who is available if something happens on your team or the other team? I think that for me is a higher weighting.
Yeah, it's way more important.
I know too many stories where some incident has happened in a basketball game and it's the venue, because the venue will probably have
Yes,
first
yeah,
aiders.
Yeah.
And people at venues have saved people's lives physically on the court before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important to promote. So I'm glad you did it whilst I'm away. And that was one of the things that stuck out. Maybe I should have started with that.
Yeah. No, it's super important. Yeah, it is super, super important. And just that people know it can happen.
Awareness.
Yeah, just people know it can happen. But look, I want to end it on a good note. And it's going to be free throws again, but it's just too funny. No, it is. It's too funny. So, have you seen this? So, the Warriors were playing the Clippers and they lost. And the reason that they lost is because they missed so many free throws. And they were asking them about it. And look, here's the stat that you want to see. When Steph's on, the free throws are 33 for 35. Without Steph on, the free throws are 172.65. Like literally, worst free throw shooting team in the last 5 years.
What was the final score of that game? 2 points? It was like 104, 102, something like that, wasn't it?
112 to 109 loss.
112, 109.
Yeah.
Steph Curry he was triple teamed.
Yeah. They were 9 for 19 on their free throws. LA was 16 for 18 on their free throws. And this is the Clippers, by the way. Not the Lakers, the Clippers. Like, they're not that great.
But Golden State, at the buzzer, Steph Curry was triple teamed.
Yep.
And I think he was trying to make the pass to, I can't remember, I'm trying to visualize. He's trying to make the pass to someone. And another guy comes in, takes a shot, bam.
Yep.
Miss. But I think as Steph Curry passes the ball, he's pointing. And I'm like, I looked it back and thought, why is he pointing? I thought, that's when I thought, I bet he's trying to get it. He's going, no, leave it. Yep. But he's triple teamed. That guy's wide open.
Yep.
So that was my focus rather than the free throws. If I'm honest, was the wide open.
But the amount of free throws that they missed.
What was it again?
It's right here. So they missed 10 free throws. They missed 10 free throws, and LA only missed 2. And you look at it and go, how can you miss 10 free throws and you lose by like 3 points? Like, it's unacceptable. And they've got the worst record of that in for 5 years of any team. And you look at it and go, the team that has Steph Curry of all the person who everyone looks at as shooters. So I just his free throws came up. I loved it. We saw in the Super League this week the amount of people that were bricking free throws, missing them out, and they were in games or at points in the game that really mattered. And you just thought, there's something about these fundamentals that I don't know what it is, but you go, free throws is one of the in-game things. Like, genuinely, you can practice regardless, can't you? Like, can you practice posting up with someone? You can, but it's kind of difficult because you've got to have the body on you and stuff.
I'm on the player's side, Mark, with this one.
I don't care.
You're
they're
always
not practicing them enough.
Can you go an episode without saying free throws?
No. The next time I do that will be the time I don't say the word Dallas or Seattle.
You hadn't until that moment, I don't think. But I don't think what you can replicate is pressure.
No.
You can't replicate a dislocated finger or a stubbed finger or a pulled muscle. You can't replicate that in practice with free throws.
Yeah.
You can't represent your mind state at that moment.
Yeah.
I've missed 0 for 5 field goals. I'm about to go to the line. Like, your mindset. So yeah. And also, Mark, some players are just not good at free throws.
Look, I understand that.
You just have a crap shot.
Look, I get that.
They're in the game. I'm the game. I'm getting rebounds and I'm getting assists.
Look at Shaq, right?
He's the perfect example.
He's the perfect example. Everyone moans about him and laughs about him and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I've got no issue. But at the end of the day, Shaq was better than 50% for his free throws. He was. He just got hacked a lot. But he was still better than 50%.
Yeah.
And there are players who are professionals who are not 50% and choking quite often.
What was Shaquille O'Neal's free throw percentage in his career? Oh, that's what 52.7%, Mark.
Yep.
I am impressed.
I told you, he's over 50%. There's people who actually, everyone's like, yeah, he's good. They're worse.
Right.
So, my last 2 points. One.
Oh, God,
No.
you said my last point.
No, my last
and
point
now you
on
got
that
another
thing.
2 points.
No, I wanted to give a shout out for one to Bob Love. He
Bobby
was
Love.
Bob Love. Yeah, he passed away this week.
Oh, no.
Was Chicago Bulls legend. Also played for Seattle Sonics right towards the end of his tenure. But 3 times NBA All-Star, NBA second team, all defensive second team. But he's the reason number 10 is retired by the Chicago Bulls. So
Mark.
he was 81 years old. Massive respect for that.
Mark, pause right there. Bobby Love.
And the second and final one,
Is this actually your final one?
this is the final one, is if you have seen, and Paul doesn't always see it, but if you see on our socials, Mr. Jason Tatum, we'll go over to this here. Now, it's a question for you. If you watch this as you do, can you see what Mr. Jason Tatum does here? This is the game-winning buzzer beater shot. You can see the red going off to win the game. Look at his footwork.
Travel.
Yep. Right?
Hang on.
No. I knew you'd love this.
You need a better angle.
You can't get better. Look, you're looking at his feet. Look, slow-mo.
but
Look at it, look.
Yeah, but you're looking at that angle and you're saying it has
Look,
his...
1, 2, 1, 2. His foot moved.
No,
It
but
actually
look at
comes-
his left foot. Left foot is... Hang on, let me go back. Let's see what his pivot foot is. And does that come off? Oh.
So the NBA...
I need to go a little bit before that. Also, what I would
Right.
say is you're allowed to travel in the NBA.
You are allowed to travel in the events, it's true. Right.
Do you know the
So-
biggest point I'd say? Look at the referee's position. He's right in front of it.
Yep. So would you like to know the interesting stat about this?
What?
So the NBA actually officially releases a document called the NBA 2 Minutes. And the NBA 2 Minutes is the last 2 minutes of every NBA game. The NBA actually does a report on it, showing if there were any calls or anything that was untoward, because obviously, as we know, the last 2 minutes of an NBA game tend to be quite important. Yeah?
I need that slowed down more.
Right? The NBA officially have said, yeah, Tatum travelled. They have, and it's literally on their website. They said Tatum has officially travelled, and that was not called. Right?
Imagine
Right,
calling
right,
a travel there,
right.
though, at the Garden.
Right? And it gets even better. They said, I think it was Jaylen Brown or was it White? I'm not sure. They got fouled before this. Like literally the play before it, they got fouled. Because of that play, Boston should have gone to the line, which should have been 2 free throws. Even if they hit both those free throws, that would have drawn the game. That's the end of the game. So that would have been a tie, right? Or gone to overtime. But that's a 3, and obviously they won by 1 point. And you go, so the 1 point buzzer beater that you won by officially has been called a travel. I knew you'd love this. I saved this in the pocket for you. I don't know if I can get this any bigger.
Ref's looking
That's
at the
what she
gap.
said.
He's looking at
Huh?
the gap. I'm trying to work out if he's looking at the gap or his feet.
It's a tough one, man.
No,
But look,
he's-
his foot, like, he does
But
this.
it's his
Tick, tick, tick,
pivot
tick.
foot, so it's just that little...
No, but he lifts it. Genuinely, he lifts it.
Yeah, I mean, that's... It's really easy to sit there in slow-mo.
No, they do. They slow demoed it down. But so basically, the official NBA, go on the NBA, you can look at the report and it says they've officially done it. However, I've even put it on there. The uncalled travel was one of 2 missed calls in the final possession. Toronto's Davion Mitchell should have been called for a foul against Jaylen Brown with 7 seconds remaining. Had that been called, Brown would have gone to the line, and if he'd hit both, the score would have been tied.
And Raptors ball.
But more importantly, he would still have had to hit both of those, which obviously was free throws. But Jaylen Brown, pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Instead, so here's my question to you. Not, is it a travel or not? Because it is. They've called it is. But there's only one game in history that I can see so far where the NBA have said you've got to play that game again.
One game in history that they said you got to play again. No idea.
No, so the one game, it was Atlanta Hawks versus Miami, and it was like 2008 or something like that. Someone correct me. But they basically went, yeah, that thing was void, so they made them play a game again. It's the only time they've done it. Other than that,
What was void?
Atlanta versus Miami, it was a game I think that they played.
But why? What was the reason?
I can't remember off the top of it, but it was the one that I remember that it was those two teams that they made them play again.
NBA game that's been made void.
I'm sure.
I was telling me what NBA games are being played tonight.
So
Siri, you let me down. You suck.
the whole point, I mean, I can try and look it up in a second, but the whole thing was, that was, they have not, they've changed scores and they've changed stats retrospectively, right? They've changed scores, and the NBA have done that. They've said, oh, it's not 96, it's actually 97, 96, or whatever it was, yeah?
Yes.
But they've just come out and publicly said that was a travel.
Yeah.
But Boston have still won the game.
Yeah.
I don't get. That's the bit I'm struggling with. Like, so hang on. You've said
what were the Toronto players doing after that? Did they just walk off? They're going, no, there's a travel. Did the coach do it? Like, that's what I mean.
Everyone was looking like, huh?
There's a lot of context there that you can't see. They're just showing you one little bit and going, yeah, that was a travel. I'd like to probably watch like 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's
like,
a slight.
Was anyone saying that
Atlanta Hawks and Miami Heat were ordered to replay the game because the final minutes of regular season game, because the official scorer suddenly ruled that Shaq was fouled out, and it wasn't, and
he stayed
changed.
in. Okay.
Yeah, and something happened there. So that's why they had to replay the final minutes.
Was the game. They only replayed the final minutes.
That's what he said. Yeah. So
did anyone turn up for that? Hey, we got a game tonight. Got a whole 30 seconds.
I don't know. I just looked at, but that's what I'm saying. Why don't they do that with that? They should, like, seriously. And it, like, the game, he won by 1 point because it's a 3 and it was the game winner. And you go, was it a tough shot? Yeah, but you travelled. And even the NBA have said it's a travel. And you go, okay, but so what? That's like saying, oh yeah, he did steal all that money, but we'll let him keep it. That's basically it. That's basically what they've done. They've let,
Boston win. Done.
Yeah.
Boston win, Mark. Done.
To me, it's because they're the champions. If they weren't the champions...
Mark, babies cry. Mark, babies cry.
I like that. That's good.
No, it's like, what are you going to do? Go back and play the last 30 seconds of it, or like, what was it, 10 seconds, or start bringing in VAR in or something like that?
But they've done it before. They historically have done it before. And this is my point. But
that was an illegal player on the court. That was a ref missed something. And you know what the beauty of that is? This. What we're talking about now, going, oh my God, that's what
spit my drink out.
That's what the beauty of it is. If it's game 7 and that decides a championship, but we're still going to be talking about it.
I mean, look, you are talking about Toronto playing Boston. That was only ever going to end one way, usually on the cards. But the fact that the Raptors were that close to beating the Celtics, and they were ahead, and then it was a last minute pulled out the bag shot. So that's why I'm looking at it going, hang on a minute. They won by 1 on an illegal, a shot that's now said no, it's a legal play. So I just, it kind of defeats the object of why are you retrospectively looking at these? Because if you're going to make that comment and say, they missed 3 fouls here, they missed this, you go...
I quite like that, because then...
It doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't, but the coaches know. The referee will definitely know. Or
but the coach, but so what? Like, if you're on the Raptors, you're like, oh, great, so you've said that you missed it, but we still lost. Like,
but
that changes nothing.
The whole season, if you get to the end of the season and you're like, hang on, because of all of this, we could have won these games. If we won these games, we'd have home court advantage. That's what the coaches. They're not going to be. All right, we got another 81 games.
Okay, I'm taking it just too literally because I'm looking at it as a stat, and the stats are the things that go in the history books. Like, no one's going to remember that after. Oh, that's the one that He hit the
if
like
I
2
said
years
to
time.
you-
We'll forget that.
If I said to you, when they go to Toronto, the same thing happens, but the other way around. At the end of the season, would you go, oh yeah, don't worry about it then?
If that, yeah, but that's so unique.
But I think that's genuinely what people say about this. It works its way out throughout the season.
No,
You'll have
I can see
some,
what you're saying.
You won't have
You
some.
you get given the penalty in football.
Yeah.
Other times you don't. I get that, but it's just I don't know. The bit that doesn't sit with me, if they said this was something that was called in the second half or the second quarter, or it was that, but this is like the game-winning shot, and you openly travelled.
Can't replay it. You're going to bring 20,000 people back in a stadium, or you're going to empty the stadium to come back and replay 20 seconds.
I reckon they should play a game of horse for it.
Right. I have got one last point.
Oh, have you?
You had one last point. Lasted 5 points. I do have one last point.
Controversial.
Please don't tell me you got another last point.
You just said you got one.
I have, but have you got another one now?
Not yet.
Jeez.
I'll think of
Right.
one if you want.
Jeez. 20 years ago,
Oh, yep.
the Indiana Pacers played the Detroit Pistons in what is now known as Malice in the Palace.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was 20 years ago today.
Jermaine O'Neal got a few punches in there, didn't he?
That's awesome. What I would say is there is a Netflix documentary, and I believe it's called Malice in the Palace, or
Yeah.
it's called Untold Malice in the Palace, something
Yeah.
like that. What I would really encourage is anyone who's got a spare hour to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the best basketball, little small documentaries that's around at the moment. And what I love about it, it's the untold story from the Pacers' perspective. And I think you'll have a different mindset on that whole incident after watching the documentary.
Oh, look, the one I felt sorry for was Jermaine O'Neal, because I believe he got suspended for like 20 games or the rest of the season or something.
Look, the one I feel sorry for as well is Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
That's his last shot at a championship, and they had basically whoever won that series.
They were the ones. Yeah.
Like even the season before, like Detroit beat them. I think in 6 games they went on to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
All the Pacers say if we had won that, it was going to be whoever won that series was going to win the championship. They all thought that.
Yeah.
And then going into the next season, the Pacers were so up for it, which is why when that game came out, they were like, right, we're making a point now. And they were actually winning that game. I think they were winning by like 17, 18 points. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Could be wrong.
they were doing
but
well.
They were killing them.
But yeah,
and they were just like, we're making our point. This is our year. This is our championship. And I think
Ron
it was...
Artest,
Ron
Jermaine
Artest.
Right, Meta World Peace, should we say now?
He was, yeah. That's when he
Ron
was Ron
Artest
Artest. And
and,
there's a great
Jermaine O'Neal. There's those two.
Jermaine and Jackson.
And Jackson. Yeah, but Jermaine O'Neal was the super big guy with the braids.
Yeah, and there's
Full on Allen Iverson special.
There's loads of great bits in there. Like there's something though that really touch on with Ron Artest, which is to do with like he had a load of anxiety issues and stuff like that. And so when you see him lying down on the scorer's table, most people go, "What's he doing?" But when you actually listen to him, he's like, he goes on the history about his mental state and all his anxiety. And he's actually trying to do a little bit of meditation there.
Yeah,
and he's counting down, going 10, 9. And he's doing this breathing technique. When you know that, you look at it a little differently. And then
cop loves in your face. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's stupid. He runs past the guy who threw it. Poof.
Yeah.
There's another really great one.
That guy who threw it as well, a bit of a coward, wasn't he? Because he's sort of like out of the way, letting someone else take the punch.
But
it was Jermaine O'Neal who came in with the other.
But there's another one as well, which is Reggie Miller. He was like trying to get him out of there, and the police is like coming with
tasers,
like spray and
pepper
spray.
Yeah.
And he's like, let him go, and he's like, hang on. He goes, do you know? Hang on, you don't know who I am. I'm Reggie Miller. Like I'm trying to get him out. I'm trying to help you. And they're like, there's loads of loads of camera angles. There's a great thing that Reggie Miller says was where, do you know when Ron Artest comes back on the court. I'm only saying Ron Artest because that's who he is named then. And then there's like this guy runs up to him like
oh yeah,
squares
up
to him.
and he's like that.
And I think it's Steven Jackson comes and puts and flies in with a punch. And it's Reggie Miller who turns around and says, if you watch that really carefully, there's something on the floor and he slips right at the last moment. And he's like, I'm literally watching that. If he doesn't slip, that guy's dead. He goes, I'm telling you now, that guy, he was going to be dead if that punch connected properly. But he goes, that guy needs to thank that little wet spot he slipped up on.
Oh yeah.
But it is a great documentary. It's one of the best ones out there at the moment. Obviously, The Last Dance, I mean, that's long. That's great. The Malice in the Palace, that's great. There's also an Untold with NBA referee. That's a real good one as well. And then, obviously, 30 for 30, Bad Boys.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Also, Reggie Miller and versus New York Knicks. That's a good one as well. But 20 years ago today, Mark, Malice in the Palace. Check out the Netflix documentary, and you have a different perspective on the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Boom.
I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, it was. I know it was a heated game for sure, but yeah, I'd never really thought about it as a.
And those Pacers all went to court. They all went to court.
They all went.
Nothing happened.
Yep.
Nothing happened. So the NBA was just making a point with these guys. Look, it's the guy in the blue shirt who threw it, I think.
Yeah, look.
And look, watch this. You see him slip last moment. Here, look.
That one there.
Slip.
Yeah.
See
Boom.
that?
Yeah. Yeah. So
there's Reggie Miller trying to protect him there.
Did you see? There's Steven Jackson behind.
Yeah.
Did you see? I think it's Ron Artest's son for Halloween. He dressed up as him.
What a legend.
But with the ripped shirt down.
Legend.
Like this. And he looks like him. So you look at it and you go, wow, I mean, you can't do better than, oh, that was my dad. And, you know, I actually slapped the thing out of him. But yeah, brilliant.
Metal World Peace's son, you are a legend for doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely watch it. There's so many different, really great things on different levels.
There he is. Yeah, look, I got to show you it. And this is how much he looks like him. Look.
He is a bloody legend.
That's brilliant. You got
what a legend.
And his dad sitting there going, I'm just trying to forget that, man. I'm trying to forget it.
You know who is trying to get is Jackson. You watch the documentary and he's like, I do not want to talk about this again. And it's really, you the one you feel for at the end is Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get a championship.
No. And he was a great player. The thing I remember about him was how heavy they came down on him in terms of, like, you know, with like Morant the season before where they're like 20 games you can't miss. And that they did the same thing, but it was like 20 weeks or something for him. So he basically missed the season. Like,
yeah, their season was done.
Yeah, and he was a powerhouse.
But it's he's the one you feel really sorry for because, I mean, it's got to be a sour taste when you're seeing NBA championships and then Ron Artest, Metal World Peace, then win a championship with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Did he win one or two with them?
I only thought it was one. Might
2000 and...
Yeah. He didn't get it. But then look, Reggie's one, like, you know, Reggie's like the John Stockton. He's one of those guys who never got a chip. And Reggie Miller, John Stockton, people like that.
Charles
Barkley. They're guys
Patrick Ewing.
Yep. They're guys that just everyone will remember, but they didn't get a chip.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the one thing you looked at and thought, oh, what if that didn't happen?
Yeah, 100%.
It all goes down to Ben Wallace with that. Like, it was a hard foul.
It's Ben Wallace, man.
Ben Wallace kicks the whole thing off.
Did you see Ben Wallace?
He got a suspension. I think he was part of it, but it was like 3 games.
Did you see Ben Wallace, by the way, at, is it Chauncey Billups, his Hall of Fame induction? They had Ben Wallace up on stage, and Chauncey Billups was there, obviously, like, you know, and he put his glasses on for like being the bad boys and stuff. And it's like, that's not Big Ben. Like you look at him now, and he's like way older, like his grey hair. He looks all like dapper and stuff in
really?
his suit, and I was like,
Oh, check it out.
"What? That's not him." He's like, "Yeah, that's Ben Wallace." It was amazing, but yeah, he looked totally
Check
different.
it out.
Yeah,
Check out that. It's 100% worth it. It's one of the best ones I've watched recently.
wow,
You know what? I've actually watched it 3 times.
really?
Yeah, I've watched it not in a row, but I've watched it 3 times in like the last 2 months.
Blimey,
Yeah.
it's that good.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow.
And I don't know, I just had a rapport with it. Maybe it was because we're doing the psychology master's degree at the moment, and I just went back to look at the Ron Artest stuff and see what he was saying about it. But no, maybe in the last 5 months, I've watched it like 3 times. I watched it on the plane coming back from the States.
Oh wow.
I just had it on the iPad and thought, yeah, smash that one out.
Oh,
Right, Mark, we done.
that's.
Can I go home?
You can go home. Look, there's Ben Wallace. There he is. Yeah, it was like, what? I don't know anything like him, but you never normally see him suited up like that. So fair play to him. Anyway, with that, so ends another episode. Keep tuning in. Keep listening. Keep sending us messages. We love it. We love you. Thank you for listening. We appreciate every single listen and everything we shout out that you ever give. So thank you for listening once again. I have been
Mark. And if you play badminton, you suck. Balls.
Snowflake.